Hey, what's up? It's James. Okay, so the next part we're going to move into is just the categories of separation for your clothing. And let me just stress real quick that it's pretty important that you properly separate these out because, well, I'll get into that. All right, so basically the categories that I want to define are stuff that needs to be dry cleaned. So we talked about the wool sweater that needs to get dry cleaned. I've got an example. This sweet suit that I got for way cheap in LA in the garment district. If you need to get a suit, go to the garment district in LA. This is another example of something that you're just going to have to take to a dry cleaner's. Like, you don't do this yourself. And so, like, I mean, after you wear that or after you wear that, like, just, you know, set it aside and be like, you know, I've got a pile that's going to go to the dry cleaners. And usually what I do is, like, I don't really need this stuff unless it's for, like, an occasion. So I'll just kind of set it aside, and then, like, when I need to go, you know, use it, I'll bust it out or whatever. Then the next category we've got our lights, which is just, you know, like, this thing's all white except for this little symbol that I sewed on there. So we got our whites together, and then we've got our darks. And the other thing that's way important to think about when separating stuff, and the other reason you want to separate stuff, is like, okay, so if I just gone out and bought a pair of red socks, and I was wanting to wash all this stuff together, and so I put all this stuff in the washing machine, I grabbed the red sock, and I put it in the washing machine, and like when the time the wash is done and you pull it out, like all your clothes are going to have a nice little pink hue to them. So just like separating stuff like this is pretty important because it keeps everything clean and separate and doesn't like mix your colors together and whatnot. And then along those lines, well, we'll get back into it a little later, but just to touch on it right now, like if you buy a new piece of clothing, like the first time wash instructions are kind of important. But for this segment, just separating stuff out into these categories: dark, light, and stuff that goes to dry cleaners.